Welcome to week 3 of our Soups and Dippers extravaganza. I am having a blast and I hope you are too. I thought it might be fun this week to kind of do a play on a steakhouse favorite. Mushrooms and spinach and creamy flavors, but do it with our soups and our dippers. And I also thought it might be fun to do something that was a little bit more formal, so you could serve it at a dinner party, or if you wanted to be way cute, you could do little shot glass sizes of it and do it for a cocktail party. Anything that might be a little more fancy to have than our tomato and grilled cheese of last week. So this week we're going to do a cream of mushroom soup, and the dipper isn't a sandwich like we've been doing. It's something kind of new and exciting that I'm thrilled about that involves wonton wrappers. So we're actually going to start with those because I'm just so excited. These are wonton wrappers. Most big grocery stores sell them. They're normally in the produce aisle, and they're used to make things like egg rolls or dumplings in Asian cooking. And you can see I've actually had these sitting out for a few minutes, and you see the edges, they start to get dry. So if you're using them, make sure you keep them covered. It's kind of like working with puff pastry. Make sure you keep it covered with a damp towel so that they don't dry out, because once they dry out, they start to fall apart and they're not so great. But what we're making out of them are wonton cups. And let me show you. This has been off for a second, so I'll be able to get them. This is our finished product. How cute are these? Look at that little thing. Is this not just one of the most adorable little dipper cups you could ever imagine? All you have to do to make these, it's so simple, is take your wonton wrapper, brush both sides with vegetable oil, and then stuff them down into this little cup. Now, as you notice, I've used a mini muffin pan, which is perfect for this size. You can also get a really big egg roll wrapper, which might work really well for like a jumbo muffin pan. But for a mini muffin pan, to make these little ones, I've used the normal wonton size. Now, once I got them in here, you can see I've done every other one because they tend to, if you do every one, they stick to each other, and then they're not so great. You can't get them apart. But I've done every other one. I've sprinkled them with sea salt and some paprika, and they're set to go. And we are going to stuff these and float them in our soup, but we'll go back to that in a second. But these are our delicious wonton cups. So easy. $3.75, about 7 to 8 minutes, or until they get nice and brown. You do want them to get brown so that they're crispy, otherwise they tend to just be, they're kind of chewy, they're not as crisp as you want them, so let them go to this point. But let's look at our soup. This is cream of mushroom soup, which is so simple to make. I just used button mushrooms in here. If you have shiitakes, if you have wild mushrooms, whatever you have would be scrumptious. You want to brown them first. Saute them in butter and let them go until they're nice and golden. That will get all the yummy flavors to come out. If you've got some fresh thyme, you can add that in there, some fresh parsley, any fresh herb. Rosemary is really good with mushrooms. Saute them till golden and then add some stock. Again, are you seeing a pattern here? Vegetables, sauteed, add stock, blend, you're set to go with the soup. Could this be any easier? So I'm going to add a little bit more stock, and then we're going to use our handy-dandy immersion blender, which we've been using all month, and kind of blend this up. Now, if you think about cream of mushroom soup, it's really lovely when there's some chunks. It's still a little bit toothy. You don't want it to be totally smooth. Then it becomes, there's almost like a gluey pastiness to it. So we're just going to go a little bit. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So good. You should smell it. It's very earthy. Sometimes if your pot isn't really full, you're going to want to scooch this down. If the immersion blender is not totally in there, it's hard to get it to actually work. So, oh yeah. I wish you could smell this. Oh, it smells so delicious. And you know what? I'm going to tilt this a little bit so you can see. It's really hot. I'm going to do my trick. Do not do this at home, but sometimes I just pull my sleeves down when I need a quick little pot holder. But see how when it's blended, I haven't added any dairy, and you can see it already has kind of a creamy consistency to it. You see that? So just know, even when you just start out with blending it, it will get creamy in and of itself. So you don't have to add too much milk or cream. I know that a lot of you are really conscious about the amount of fat that you're putting in your diet, the amount of calories that you're bringing. So you don't have to add too much, but you do want to add some to get that really nice, creamy mouthfeel. So I'm going to add some of that, and then the last thing I'm going to add is sherry. Now there are a couple kinds of sherry. You can get the actual alcohol, the liquor sherry, or you can get cooking sherry. Both work fine. Cooking sherry has a higher sodium content. They add salt to it to add the flavor. So just know if you're using cooking sherry, it'll have a saltier undertone. If you're using regular, the alcohol sherry, then it won't be quite so salty. You choose. That was the cooking sherry. It's delicious. So I'm going to heat this up so some of that alcohol flavor kind of cooks out, but it just permeates in there. And then we're going to stuff our wonton cups. Oh, this smells incredible. Okay, so for our wontons, again, we're doing steakhouse, mushrooms, and spinach. What I have here is some leftover cream spinach from last night. Super easy. Spinach, some Parmesan cheese, some heavy cream, some cream cheese if you have that to kind of give it some body. I'm going to add to it some goat cheese that'll melt on in there, and then to kind of pull our mushroom flavor over, I'm going to chop up some of the sauteed mushrooms that I reserved before I added the stock to make the soup, and I'm going to toss those in here as well. So let me chop some of these. You can kind of see, you know, I wish you could see a little bit better, but do you see how they had this nice kind of golden hue to them? Oh, you really want to go for that. If you don't, then mushrooms sometimes kind of taste rubbery. But if you let them go nice and golden, again, color equals flavor, then you're going to have a really, there's a meaty nuttiness to mushrooms that are cooked really well. So go ahead and let it go as far as you can without burning, obviously. So that's it, just a rough chop on these mushrooms. And you know, I know some people are really averse to mushrooms. My gut tells me that's because they haven't had them prepared really well. They become really slimy, or, you know, as a child you might have eaten some out of a can that are just absolutely terrible sometimes. So if you have a family member, a loved one, a child who's really mushroom averse, try to cook them really until they're nice and delicious and golden, and then you might be able to change their mind. I know some people think, well, fungus, well, I can't do it no matter what, but it might be worth just giving it a whirl. So now, you can see it's this yummy, creamy spinach mushroom filling. That's all there is to it. Watch this. Oh my gosh. I cannot tell you how good this tastes. You just mound it up in there, and these little nuggets of goodness are going to float in our soup. Speaking of, I think it's boiling over here. Again, when you're doing a milk-based soup, whether it's normal milk that you're using or half and half or heavy cream, don't let it boil because it can curdle. You know, all dairy, that'll happen. So just bring it to the point where it's simmering or just below the boil, and then it'll be absolutely fine. So I'm going to serve up a bowl of this. I don't know about you all, but I really love these soups. I cannot get enough of how many different ways, how many different things you can actually do with soup. It's just a wonderful thing to make for yourself at night when you come home from work and you're exhausted. 20 minutes later, you have a fresh, I mean, that's faster than takeout at this point. And you've made your own soup with ingredients that you know, that you've chosen from the grocery store, that you know are fresh, that maybe have been grown locally so that you even know the farmer that grew them. And it's fast. It's just phenomenal. So, we've got our little cups. We've got our amazing bowl of cream mushroom soup. And look at that. You just float a little cup right there in it. Oh, could that be any more delicious? I can't wait to dig into this. I hope you've had a great time. I know I have. Have a wonderful week eating locally and enjoying this cream of mushroom soup. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Mmm.